Hello. It feels like it's been an age, and in many ways it has. It has been a number of months. And for someone who wants to try and do this more, not got a very good starting track record, so oopsie. Oh gosh. No, the last few months have just felt so busy, and I am so tired. And I mean, it's not just that they've felt busy. They have been busy. There's been a lot going on, especially around the holidays. I am one of those people where the holidays for me, for the last so many years, has always been busier than most of the rest of the year for me. Beyond that, beyond the, I don't know, something like 13 shows that I did throughout December and January, I have been doing a lot of career-focused stuff on my own outside of my usual 9 to 5 plus my second job. I've been looking for apartments and went to a viewing and all the driving that accompanies that. I've been visiting my boyfriend, which has been absolutely wonderful, and that involves a lot of driving. I've done family stuff. I've done my best to ensure that I am still going to as many possible things that I can with friends. And I've rearranged my apartment. I got a new desk, which meant that I had to figure everything else out, where to put the old one, and that meant building basically a craft station. I got a new laptop. I also had to deal with an emergency car issue where my fucking rotors and brake pads rusted over, and I needed to do a whole thing with that. And I feel like my brain is so full right now, and I very much need a vacation. And I mean, I think what's kind of frustrating for me is that the whole brain full situation has been the case for so many years. The more I think about it, the more I realize just for how long I've been slightly dissatisfied with something in my life. Where there's been some major self-improvement or major change that I know that I need to make for myself, and either I have done it, which there are a few things that I have done, and I'm so proud of myself for doing that because it has made me so much happier. But then there are other things. I mentioned looking for apartments, and that's been on my mind pretty much since I moved here. I have lived in this city for, and I realized this yesterday, 14 years, and I've never liked this city. I came here for school. I stayed because of the friends and opportunities here, and I have also stayed because of the price of rent, because I have not moved apartments in 12 years. And for someone who does not belong in a big city, that is a long time to be in the presence of so many people and just the kind of community and energy that this place brings. And from a career standpoint, I am very lucky to be where I am. I am doing well and making strides, and it's a good job. I think I just wish that my career was taking a different direction. And with all of the work and the research and everything else that goes into making that happen, it's a big job. I don't know, this year in particular, I so badly need a break. And yes, throughout all of this craziness that has been the last few months, there has been a lot of downtime. I have been able to just de-stress and just enjoy myself and have moments where I'm not run off my feet. But it's interesting how I find myself dissatisfied by certain activities that I do in that downtime. I, like most people, can be so hard on myself. And because I've been spending so much time away from my apartment, where all of my creative stuff is, and I have so many creative ideas that I want to start or continue or finish, I get into this headspace when I'm home that I need to do this now because this is the only place that I can do it. Even though I maybe can't or shouldn't do that at the time. My mom always said this. My mom actually has given me a lot of phrases, snippets of advice that I've carried throughout my life, but one thing that she said, and has continued to say for many, many years, is a change sometimes is just as good as a rest. And I think in hearing that little nugget of wisdom, my thought has always been, keep moving. And both my parents are like that. They are always on the go. And I think it makes me feel lazy when I just sit and watch a movie or a TV show, or I spend way too many hours catching up or rewatching things like Critical Role, rather than taking advantage of the time that I have, and being productive, even if it's productive in a different way, just being productive. I put myself into this guilty feeling, even though everything is telling me to not. And what's ridiculous about it is, if I know that I'm not in the headspace to be productive in a creative way or whatever else, I guilt myself and make myself feel as though I'm procrastinating on something that is only on me. There's no deadline, there's no one breathing down my neck to get these things done. But there's that little voice in the back of my mind that says, you're wasting time, you're wasting time. And yet, sometimes it's okay to waste time. It's what I'm sort of realizing. I think in just this feeling of needing a break, my body's been giving me signs. I have been very tired, but I've wanted to just sit and exist in silence, not necessarily complete silence, but like ambient noise, like a fireplace, or you know, those soundscapes you can put on YouTube that are just, oh yeah, you plug in a prompt and it'll bring something up. And rather than playing a video game or watching a movie or having something on in the background all the time, I find myself turning to cozying myself up with a blanket and a cup of tea and reading a book. And I've eaten through a couple books in the last couple of months. It's been wonderful. It just goes to show that, I don't know, you just need to listen to yourself sometimes. I think also something about this winter in particular is I have such longing for proper winter. Where I'm at, we rarely get snow, and thank you, climate change, the snow is coming later and for much less time, or much more sporadically. We didn't get snow this year until New Year's Eve, which was a beautiful, lovely moment, but it didn't last long. And I don't know, there's something about just the cold embrace of winter and this white blanket across the land that I have been craving so much lately. And I don't know how I came across her and why it's taken me so long, but I discovered a new YouTuber to me called Jonna Jinten. She is a Swedish artist and photographer and the videographer, I suppose. And she lives in the north of Sweden. And her life is just so appealing to me. And in many ways, I'm completely jealous. But it's not just that I'm jealous of the fact that she lives in such an idyllic space where there's no light pollution and you can see the stars, and she's got a wonderful husband and a gorgeous carefree dog and all of this kind of stuff. She gets to live this beautiful existence in nature. I think it's that I haven't just shifted my life when I felt the urge to. I think I can be practical to a fault sometimes. And she, many, many years ago, over 10 years ago, decided to move away from a big city and reestablish herself where her parents grew up. And this has led to such a beautiful life. And I'd love to do that. But there's always a reason why I don't. And it bothers me. It really does. I know why my reasons are there. And I know that they are important reasons, and I'm not discounting those reasons. But I don't know. There's just, I think that very inner part of me that so desperately craves to be just unleashed onto the world, or allow me to unleash myself onto the world, and unashamedly, unabashedly live the kind of life that I want to, that doesn't follow your traditional 9 to 5, or if it does, it's in a field that, you know, is at least more me. And so yeah, it's in seeing her videos where everything is beautifully blanketed and she's warming her home by fire and all of this lovely wintry goodness, it is making me think of two things. One, it brings me back to the vacation I took a number of years ago to Banff. It was a very short vacation, and it was very simple, just some skiing and some going to some restaurants and going to the hot springs there. But I think looking back, I'm realizing how influential of a trip that really was for me. And two, thinking of a new concept to me that I've discovered called hygge. Hygge, I believe, is a Danish word and Danish concept that has been westernized to kind of reflect a commercialist, capitalistic sort of aesthetic of being cozy and trying to make your life as cozy as possible with all of these things. Whereas in reality, the concept of hygge is essentially togetherness and listening to your heart and making your life whole by appreciating the tiny things. At least that's my understanding. And I love that. And I think the reason why I mention it is just what my body is telling me as I'm trying my best to allow myself to listen, is needing that. Needing to appreciate just those small moments and realize that you don't have to be go, go, go all the time. I don't have to be productive. If I want to be, that's great, but just relinquishing that pressure, I think, will be very important for me to pay attention to. And just, I don't know, get back to a version of life that's slower and less obligation focused. Don't get me wrong. I want a beautiful life. Whatever that means. I mean, yes, I would love to have the beautiful curated home and the perfect hobbies that I'm just amazing at. For me, perfect for me hobbies and all of these kind of things. And I'd love to have all the money and the time to be able to do them with no worry. But until, and this is even if I'm able to get to that point, I need to try and start to empty my dang brain and just allow myself to appreciate the now much more rather than looking to the future or looking to the past and wishing for something else. Taking my time and following what feels good. At one point in my life, I was constantly writing out self-reflections or just feelings. And that's not to say I still don't do that, but I think there's something in me that's pushing towards this living in the moment kind of mentality in little subtle ways. And I'm trying to get myself in that direction, if you will. But I think what I want to stray away from is building up this idea of a beautiful life rather than taking what I can actually find and create for myself and appreciating it for what it can give me versus what I might have built up in my head, if that makes any sense. I don't want to make up something unattainable, I guess. So, I'll be over here wintering. Not quite hibernating, not quite rescinding into some dark hole of a place that I can't get back from, but wintering. Allowing myself space to rest, space to be quiet, or loud, or energetic, or creative, or lazy, without any sort of, hopefully, negative self-talk back. We'll see how that goes. I hope that you're doing well, and I hope that you're safe. It feels like the world is always in turmoil. Pick a year, it doesn't matter. But the turmoil that we're in right now is difficult for so many. And I can only hope for the best for you and your loved ones. My only wish is that you be safe, that you are able to find your own peace somehow, somewhere, your own joy, and only send the best of thoughts, and that we all come out of whatever struggles we're going through happy and hale on the other side. But until then, I'm going to finish my tea, I'm going to keep watching Critical Role, and I'm going to enjoy this day. This wonderful, perfect, messy day. Okay, until next time. Bye.